new concept. Just laying a foundation, looking for the lights and darks. Again, I will figure what needs to be blended, pull out some highlights. Using a little bit of dry brush. And then I will make the blast. Some of this will need to be blended out. Too many lights and darks. Now the concept for this new painting, again, I have no idea if it'll be a success or not. Planet, this is upside down right now, so this moon will be over here. If this continues, it'll have like a night scene with stars out here, and then blend into the bottom, into like a sunset and water and something jumping out of the water, like thinking the moon is actually something to tap, swallow, whatever goes on creatures' minds when they look at something big and bright. So it's a decent formation foundation. Okay, so this is the next one. Now this one I had a lot of trouble with the sunset, going over and over and over, and I wasn't happy, and I kind of got it to a point where I can work with it. I'll have to go in there and redefine little things. But I wanted a smooth transition from sunset into the sky and into the moon. Now the moon turned out better than I thought. I did one with pencil, but the subtleties with the watercolors really worked out. Matter of fact, I don't have anything to do with this one. This one's a done deal. But the concept was to have humpback whales like coming out of the water, like chasing after the moon. And so the idea and the concept is sound. It's just the sky is, if I don't fix it or I can't get it to a point where I can live with it, it's going to be a moon picture. Anyway, so the water will go down here and the whales will extend into this line, which would be into the water. They're jumping out. Anyway, not too displeased with this. Okay, so this is kind of a side view. I'll change the angle, but for demonstration purposes. Okay, so I want to explain anything before I put anything. Okay, I talked about lightening the edge. Well, let me use this right here. So I added a highlight because it is round, and added some, they do have parasites on them. So it'll serve mainly as a reflect light of the sunset, but also of possible parasites. Now, I also went into the top here. And of course, there is a touch of oranges and reds to reflect. And I did round it off so it looks like it's kind of, they have almost a cathedral point to their top of their mouth and little dimples on there. Went into the eye. This is really super close. This is like 2 inches away. So the eye does pop out. Now you can see the little strokes here, which from a normal distance, it makes sense. I will be going in here where the blowhole is, make it a little darker. I may lighten that up a little bit. Went in there and made little inclusions. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of highlight. This will give the roundness. Now, I know it looks kind of dark, but watercolors they do fade. So I'm just doing some little crosshatch, which I'll blend in after. Now, I know it looks kind of overpowering, but I will have to let it dry, and when it dries, it'll get lighter, and then I'll blend it more like this. This is a good blend right here. So it's not too harsh. Now these are kind of thick and round, so now I'm just kind of blending it. And I might need to come back in here. And you can see it's starting to fade already. And I'm just going to slowly blend it out in a crosshatch style. This will give the whale volume, three-dimensionality, and I'll be going over this many more times just to get it right. Now this is Megaoptera, which just means very large wing. Humpbacks are known for their long pec fins, which are almost a third of their body. So anyway, depending on the angle, they could be a little bit longer maybe. But they don't have a hump. It's just when they're diving, the angle from their dorsal fin into the dive looks like it's a humpback, but they don't really have a humpback. But that's just what they perceived back in the day. Anyway, so I'm just blending things out a little bit, not to make it so overpowering. And this is kind of the way things work. You know, just lighten areas, darken areas, blend, eliminate, stand back. And then, well, I guess I'll just go way back up. Went into the sunset a lot more, and I could deal with this. There may be some little parts that I'll change up. Anyway, this is just the next installment. The bottom will be water, and of course it'll reflect some of the sunset areas. What I'm going to do, I haven't done it yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off like about an inch or two from the top there. And when I place this image on a black foam core illustration board, it'll look like the moon is taken off from the actual painting. Anyway, so that's my thought. This is a little different direction, but still nature. Really love what's happening here. The top part of their mouth, or I don't know what you say that would be the top part of, yeah, I guess the top part of their mouth is actually almost flat. It's like a lid on a teapot. And with the highlights and the little ridges that I put on there, I think I got that covered. Anyway, so that's where I'm at this point in time. Okay, so this is, I'm going to be working on the water. Now, I have a lot of different techniques how to do water, depending on where it's located. Oceans, I have this technique of doing just tiny little strokes in the background and working my way out. I'm going to give you kind of a close-up on this. Oh, maybe something like that. And you can see the little teeny strokes in here. And then it's lighter here, and I would go darker here. And I would just slowly build it up, more like this. Now, this is kind of a different situation because it's a sunset. And I wasn't sure how to do it. So decided to just do little color comps. It would be a kind of a harsh thing to get this far into the situation and then realize that, hey, the water didn't work. So it's just kind of a little cutout. And just by putting it there, it gives me an idea. Well, I should just lift this up because it does interfere. This is to keep my guideline. So there's the water thing against the sky. So it gives me an idea what it would look like against the sunset over here. This is just kind of going a little bit darker. This would be other layers, but big strokes. And then these would be smaller strokes and build it up. But I thought I would want to try a little bit more of a color enhancement. So this is pretty much the same way, but they're bigger strokes. You can't really see the strokes in here, so it's blended out more. And then they get bigger on this. Now this orange is going into a Payne's gray and then blending in. If I cover it like this, you can see kind of what I'm talking about. And this kind of works. But as I try to try a different direction, I was thinking of just doing a dark purple, purple against the orange and the blue against the orange is kind of a complementary thing. And it's okay, but I think I hit on it with this. So it's a combination. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, and I might go over all the work I did. I'm going to let some of it come through, but I'm going to go over with the purple, and then after I get down, I'm going to kind of, bleed some orange in, and then bring the blue in, cobalt blue, ultramarine, and then blend, bring in colors so you get bleed into, you can see the oranges pop out. And then after I get to the super cobalt, I'm going to come in with some Payne's gray and just not completely cover up the blue, but just give kind of a nice transition. Now, what I really like is right in here. This purple and the orange blend really just works for me. So that's the direction I'm going to go. So this is one way of doing stuff. Let me get just a closer view on this. So there is the just using Payne's gray and orange, and then this is what it would look like with a purple, and this is what it would look like. And I can't really tell how close up this is. It's probably not. It's somewhat close, But right here you can see the orange blending into the purple and then slowly transitioning out. Now this has a variety of colors, things happening. You can see the purples and the oranges and the browns and eventually the ultramarine and then darker into the Payne's gray. And I think that is the direction I'm going to go. Anyway, so I just giving you a little heads up on how I will do this. Now what I'm going to do also is I'm going to get pretty much what it's going to look like and then come in at one point just to show you the strokes I'm doing. So I'm going to stop it here and then work on this and then come back towards the end to finish it out so you can see how I did this. Okay, I'm going to work on this little section here. Now I did cover this with a green tape to protect the horizon line. Now, I did protect the whales on both sides, but not with frisket or liquid frisket, which I have been able to use from time to time, but something called Scotch removable tape. And this is for little small areas where you can place it over something and then just cut across with a very sharp X-Acto blade. Now this is removable tape, so it's not like regular tape where you pull it out and it'll pull off the paper. It's a very low tack, so you pull it off real easy and it doesn't have any effect on the actual painting. Very helpful. Okay, so I might be going a little fast in this area. Now I didn't want to go in the middle or kind of in this area, mainly because I'm going to be going faster than I would normally, and there is a possibility of error. But I'm just going to show you what I was doing. So I had the foundation of little let me blow it up some here. Okay, so right here it's kind of blown up. You can see the little teeny strokes, and this is the way I would normally do water. Now I'm using kind of a 1/4 inch flat brush. Now I'm going to come in here with some purple, and now I may be going a little too dark too quick. I'm just going to be going, and now I can go right over the whale because it's protected, and it prevents that looks like you stopped at the edge type feel. Still letting a few bits of orange come through, and this will make as undercoat, which is a vital part of watercolor. I always have multiple layers, sometimes 7, sometimes 15 or more, depending on what I'm working on. Obviously some require more layers and pulling things out and going back in and pulling in highlights and going back in and darkening and shadowing, and there's a lot more to watercolors than just putting the color and just slam it across. Okay, so you can see this small blend, and I'm going to slowly come in. Now the strokes are going to get a little bit bigger towards the bottom, and blend those into the other. I'm going to get rid of all the white. I'm going to go over some. Now, what I'm going to try to do is come in with some more some more orange, especially on this background, blend more. So it's going to be darker. The highlights are not going to be as strong. And just slowly, like you're doing a wave action. So it's a little curve line. And I'll probably come back in with some purple afterwards in certain areas. And maybe some blending in here. And I could also go back in there if I need to and pull out some highlights, which the way I paint is I'll do some work, set it up, and just stare at it for hours or days or whatever, sometimes weeks or more. And some things will just catch my eye. It's like, okay, well, that needs work. Or, yeah, that's just a long process. Now, I'm switching to a Payne's Gray for this very bottom. And just doing some small strokes. Now these are somewhat dark, but they will blend out and fade. And I'm just going to come in here with just a couple of shadows. I'll probably figure out the angles on that pec fin so it doesn't look weird. You can see it's starting to fade already, and that's what layers are all about too. You can, you know, put it down, and if it works and it looks right, and you like the way it was with that darker color, you can come in and put a couple more layers. And just a little recap from what it could have looked like. So it does have the purple. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue in here, cobalt, but that is what it looks like. Hello, I'm Steve Melendrez, a model maker, illustrator, scientific illustrator, sculptor, design after history museum in Los Angeles. Done a lot of different things, but I'm going to be doing watercolor demonstrations of the techniques I've developed over the years, and it's going to go from a lot of different directions. And also I'm going to be doing videos, I call them video posters for my daughter. So a lot of stuff that I can leave to my daughter about her crazy dad. So I'm taking a lot of different directions, but mainly three. So anyway, that's my introduction that I'm going to attach to everything I'm doing now so I don't have to repeat this. Be careful out there.